Okay, so hey you guys, I know y'all see the title, so y'all pretty much know what the video is gonna be about. But basically today is the day that I first moved into this apartment and I'm getting ready to move. So everything is very emotional for me because my best friend helped me move in this apartment. Okay, and I'm gonna go in detail about how I felt like her passing was my fault. I know it wasn't my fault, but I'm gonna tell you guys the details and what happened. And maybe this will help somebody who has lost a loved one. It doesn't matter if it was a friend, mother, dad, anything like that. It's almost been a year since she passed away, so I think I'm able to kind of like talk about what happened and my depression, and that it's okay to be vulnerable. Everybody think I'm Superwoman, but when she passed away, it broke me. It really did. It really did. So I'm here to talk about that, and you guys stay tuned. Okay, so a little backstory about me and Eureka's friendship. Okay. And let me tell y'all some funny shit about how we met first, okay? So we both used to work at 24 Hour Fitness. She used to work there at this one location way before me, okay? So I'm the new girl coming into the new location, and she didn't like me. She didn't like me. She didn't. She wouldn't help me. I used to ask her questions. She'll basically be like, you need to figure that shit out on your own, basically with an attitude. And y'all know she had the little sassy attitude. For everybody who knew her, knew that she was a firecracker, okay? But my friendly ass, everybody think I'm mean, but it was her, okay? And so I had been working there for maybe a month. And not gonna lie, some of the managers show favoritism so I could see why she felt some type of way. But this is how we became friends, okay? So it was storming in Houston, Texas, okay, in Maryland, and it was raining, and the bitch was at the bus stop, you know? And I can say this. This is how me and Eureka's relationship was. So don't say that I'm calling her name, but that's how we talk to each other, okay? So for those who know us, know how it goes, okay? So she was at the bus station, okay? And I could have been that girl to be like, girl, I ain't giving you no ride. You was da-da-da. And I was like, you need a ride? And she was like, she was kind of hesitant to be like, yeah. And I said, well, where you stay? And she was like, I stay in Third Ward. And I was like, well, me too. I was like, you need a ride? So she got on my cord, and after that, we was friends after that. She was my friend because she needed a ride, okay? And that's how we became friends. And it's a funny backstory, but she was my friend after that because she needed a ride, okay? But after that, we have been best friends for like, it's been 13 years. We was friends. After that, we was like Jack and Jill, okay? But we were totally opposite of each other. Opposite. And for those who know us, know what I mean by opposite, like as far as like where we hang out, who we hang out with, and certain things like that, okay? So if you ever see me on the scene, you wouldn't see Eureka because we got totally different people that we hang out with, okay? But that's that. Okay, so she had been dealing with lupus for a long time. I think a year after we met is when she started getting sick and everything like that. But the doctors didn't know exactly what she had, why it was causing her immune system to break down like that or anything like that. So maybe it took them 2 years to figure out that she had lupus. Okay, and when she got diagnosed with lupus, it never really got better for her. So as the years went by, her body was getting worse and worse and worse. Okay, I was mainly the one who was there. Emergency room visits, hospital visits. I didn't really spend the night at the hospital too much because anytime I spend the night, I catch a fucking 24-hour bug. I don't know how, but yeah. So I would drop her off, stay in the waiting rooms for hours at a time. So I kind of like went through the struggle with her over the decade of her with this lupus fight, okay? So for everybody who knows, she stayed in the hospital for months at a time and stuff like that. So I know that she was hurting, and she kind of like, hey, T, I don't know if I'm gonna make it. Hey, don't resuscitate me if anything. So she prepped me. She's been prepping me for years about how to, sorry y'all, about how to deal with it if something really happens, like bad, okay? So it's been several occasions to where I had maybe somebody had to break down the door so I can get in, because she had the bolt locked. And then finding blood everywhere and stuff like that. So we've had different episodes with her lupus. I'm trying to keep it together, but yeah. So that's a little backstory about how sick she was and how she felt, and how she was prepping me to be ready for it if something was to really happen. Okay, let me get a tissue. Okay, I'm back. So fast forward up until, we can say 2022, she was going in and out the hospital like a regular thing or whatever, but I can tell that it was starting to get me. But I always be in denial about certain things. But I used to have to fuss at her to be like, hey, we need to go to the emergency room, and she'd be like, no, I don't want to go. So I had to understand, like, I'm not feeling how she's feeling. Like, she's tired of the hospital. She's tired of doing this. She got to take 15 medicines a day and stuff like that. So I understood, but I didn't understand. I'm like, we need to go to the emergency room. I can only do so much. I'm damn near a nurse right now because of having to do things for her. But, okay, so fast forward to me moving. And this is why I had to go to therapy, because the lupus kind of like made her, when she was going through heart failure and stuff like that, but she loved her Tempest. Okay, so whatever I needed done or needed help with, even if I didn't ask her, she wanted to make sure that it got done. Who else gonna help you? If they don't help you, who gonna help you? And at that time I was single, so I didn't really have anybody to help me. I had hired movers and everything, but she still wanted to box shit up. She still wanted to do this to make sure you got it done. And if you tell her no, she gonna get on your motherfucking ass, okay? So I stayed in a high rise, so she really didn't have to do anything. We had wagons and everything if we want to put stuff in the car. And it's kind of like, I feel like me moving is what kind of put her heart in overkill over the days, because I moved. It took me 4 days to move. In this apartment, the hallway is really, really deep. My apartment is it's in the back. So it's a lot of walking. It's blah, blah, blah. It's a lot of walking. I felt like, even though I know everybody gonna be like, it's not your fault. She was trying to help you, her friend. But I felt like her helping me move those 4 days was putting her body in, it was overworking her. And me and my other friend was telling her, like, you need to sit down, you need to do this, you need to chill out. Well, what I'm gonna do then? If I'm gonna sit here, and I got plenty of videos from where we were laughing, we were playing while I was moving, and everything. And it's this one night in particular that I want to say that it was like a panic attack. And she was like, she couldn't breathe. She was sitting in the car, and I was like, well, just spend a night here, and I'll take you home in the morning, and we can draw your cord, and I'll just stay at your house, and I'll just Uber back home. She was like, no, I'm be fine. And her being sick all the time, she was very, very moody. So I got cussed out every 5 seconds, which I'm not tripping about. She just was hard-headed. She was tired, okay? So we sat in the car for like 20 minutes. And she was like, well, I'm fine. Let me just catch my breath, da-da-da. And I was like, okay. So we sat in the car, and I was like, well, I'm just going to drive you home, and I'm going to take your car, and I'll come back in the morning. She was like, okay. So when I dropped her off at home, she got out the car. She twerked a little bit when she got out the car. I checked her face because she had like an import in her chest. I checked her face to make sure it wasn't swollen. And she twerked, she got out the car, and I was like, well, I'm gonna go out in the morning. She was like, okay, cool. So I drove home. I called her that night. She was like, okay, I'm good. I'm finna take a shower, take my medicine, and I'm gonna go to bed. Okay, cool. That next morning, I called, she didn't answer, so I'm in panic mode. But she ended up calling me right back and was like, I'm fine. She was like, girl, why I thought you was at the door? It's the damn maintenance man, and I answered the door with no clothes on, da-da-da, some funny shit, okay? So I was like, well, I'm going to stop and get food, and then I'll be on my way. And she was like, okay, cool. So I get over there, and her face was swollen. And I knew her face was swollen from her import. They had already redid surgery on it, and she had like 5 surgeries on that thing because they wasn't inputting it right. So her face was swollen on one side, and I'm like, Eureka, we need to go to the emergency room. And she was like, no, I don't want to go. If it get worse, then we can go tomorrow, or I'll tell you tonight if we need to go. And I'm like, okay. And she was like, you think I should go to work? And I was like, no. And I was like, no, I think you should get your rest because your face is swollen. And she was like, okay, but I said, did you eat? I was like, well, you can't eat what I eat because she can't eat potatoes or anything like that. So I didn't want to make her lupus flare because she couldn't eat what I had. And I was like, you want me to fix you a sandwich? She was like, yeah, you can fix me a sandwich. She was like, can you give me some soda? And I was on soda. No, she's not supposed to drink soda. So I was like, nah, I can get you some water. And she was like, okay. She was like, but water make me get fluid on me. So it was a whole argument, okay? So I made her the sandwich, and I made her bite the sandwich. She bit the sandwich once, okay? Y'all remember the sandwich, okay? And I was like, you better be sure you don't go to work. And she was like, no, I'm not going to go to work. I'm just like, here, take the car again, and then you can come back, and I'll drive the car and take you home, so you can go back home. I was like, okay. And she was like, I love you. And I was like, I love you too. I was like, call me if you need me. And she was like, okay. She was like, use your key to lock the door. And I was like, okay. Okay, so the next morning, I called her. She didn't answer. Okay, so I was like, let me get in the shower, and I'm gonna be on my way. Why? I got in the shower because she called me right back after I got in the shower, and I couldn't make it to the phone in time. So I tried to call her back. She didn't answer. So I hurried up and got over there. And normally when we have these episodes that I can call her name and she'll be like, huh, come help me get up. But when I walked in there, it was cold. And I was on the phone with one of my homegirls. And I think she could see the look in my face and was like, you okay? And normally when we go through these episodes, I yell her name first because I don't want to walk into something and I'm not. But when I called her name twice and she didn't answer, I think I kind of knew. So when I walked in the doorway of her room and she was just laying there, and it wasn't like no struggle. She didn't pass out or anything. It just looked like she was sleeping. And I'm like, Eureka. And she didn't answer, so I got off the phone with my homegirl. My homegirl was like, everything is okay. I hung up on her. No, I didn't hang up on her. And I was like, I think I gotta call the ambulance. And she was like, okay. So I hung up with her. And before I called, I touched Eureka's foot, and I just instantly knew because it was really, really cold. And I remember we had these conversations. She was like, don't resuscitate me. Don't do none of that. Just let me go. I'm hurting. I'm fine. I'm at peace. And anytime we used to have these conversations, I'm like, girl, I don't want to talk about this shit. But I heard everything that she was saying. I already knew what to do, like, for her funeral arrangements and stuff like that. And I called the 911, and they were like, well, you need to put her on the ground so you can resuscitate her. And I was like, I can't. And that sandwich that I made her that night had that one bite that she had. I don't know what about the sandwich that fucked me up, but it's like I was able to make you your last meal, and I'm thankful for that. And you told me that you love me, and that was that. Like, so I knew she was hurting. I couldn't be selfish to be like, hey, you need to be here for me. You need to be here for your family and none of that. But she was really, really in pain, y'all. So for all my people who's dealing with any illness or anything like that, sometimes you have to take into consideration that people are really, really hurting inside. They're tired of the hospitals. They're tired of this. And hospitals don't even know how to treat them with their immune system disorders and all that type of stuff. So yeah, so the ambulance came. I called her sister. I didn't call her family first because that's a whole nother thing. And I'm not even going to expose them like that. But shout out to her sister. And shout out to my other close friends. They really stepped up for me. And I'm really, really thankful for that. And so I planned her whole funeral. I picked out her casket. I picked out her undergarments. I picked out her dress. I picked out her hair. And me doing all of that, and this is why I want to make this video, because me doing all of that, and that's the first time I've ever lost somebody that was that close, like in my circle with me. I still have my mom. I still have my dad. I still have one of my grandmothers that's really, really close to me. All my cousins, everybody is perfectly fine. That's close to me. My brothers and sisters are fine. And for Eureka to be with me every single day. She worked with me in my office. I don't have my office anymore because I couldn't do it. Me moving out of here is emotional because she helped me. I couldn't even unpack all of my stuff because she passed away during all of this. One of my other closest friends had to come and unpack all my stuff for me. I didn't work for 8 to 9 months. I couldn't. I don't know. My mom was telling me to work, but I wasn't mentally there. I went to therapy and everything like that. So everybody don't let anybody tell you when to stop dealing with it. Oh, you need to get over it. No. That's what's wrong with people now. Now I feel like I'm in a better place. I'm happy. My other half, he helps me anytime I have an episode with this. He prays for me. He helps me. It was like, hey, you can cry whenever you want to. You can do this, and it's gonna be day by day. It doesn't get better. I'm not gonna say that it gets better, but it gets easier for you to cope with certain things. And it's little things that I have with her. It took me a minute to go pick up her ashes. It took me months to go pick up her ashes. My dude just got me my chain for her ashes. So it's like, I'm thankful for the people that I have surrounding me. Get you some good people. Go to therapy. Do certain things. A lot of people are, after things like this, the mental aspect of it, if they don't have the right people in their corners, and sometimes you don't even want to talk to anybody. You just want to sit and cry. But sometimes when you do that shit alone, then it can take you to a point to where you do shit that you don't want to do. So yeah, so I know she's watching over me. I wear her sweater all the time. So if y'all see me in this sweater every day, and then it's a ACC sweater that I'm in all the time too, is hers. That's why I got it on. Mind your business. Be like, don't you wear that sweater all the time? And do. And do. But I want to thank y'all for tuning in. If anybody can comment below how they kind of like went through somebody passing, they lost somebody, how were they able to cope? Don't be afraid to sit and talk to somebody. I know when I picked up her ashes, I kind of like recorded me picking up my ashes on Instagram, and they bashed my ass. Oh, she crying in front of the camera for likes. First of all, bitch, I already got 1 million fucking following and all that. I don't have to do that for likes or anything like that. That was a vulnerable moment, and that was me showing that it was okay for you to have a moment. You're not fucking Superman or Superwoman. You have tears like everybody else. So that was me trying to show people like it's okay to be vulnerable, but clearly motherfuckers don't get it, okay? But I don't care. I don't give a damn. That's how I felt when I picked up my friend. I thought it was okay when I picked up the ashes, but I would. But I did it. And I want to thank y'all for tuning in. Like and subscribe. Comment below. I know this ain't the typical type of video that I would normally post, but I feel like it had to be talked about. And I actually kind of like feel relieved that I'm able to kind of like tell people, because I'm tired of people asking me. So just go ahead and watch the video, and I hope it's not too long for y'all, and I appreciate y'all.